timestamp in the pinned comment to skip the intro. What's going on, boys? Thanks to our patrons and Fiverr customers, subscribe to our Patreon free for behind-the-scenes stuff, arm yourselves, life stuff. I've been in a state, and I've been thinking. Brief update on the career saga, the non-profit arc, because it ties into this. Our CPA gave me my next paycheck, the July 1st paycheck, early because she'll be traveling, and I should have known it. Somehow I didn't. I think we predicted this, but I was really hoping it wouldn't be the case. Raise not instated. And technically, if we're going by what we voted on, there is a technical argument for this, but this wasn't the understanding. I could have pushed hard for the entire raise and all the hours at either the beginning of June or halfway through May, but I didn't because I wanted to be fair, and I knew physically I wouldn't be able to be moving shit 40 hours a week. The understanding was I would work my normal hours technically and then donate additional hours where required, either to move more stuff or to handle administrative stuff, and then the raise would technically start on July 1st as a squaring up of sorts. I didn't want to steal money from people. I wouldn't be working 40 hours a week, so it would feel wrong being paid 40 hours a week, but it would be more than my typical hours, volunteered hours, so we would split the difference in a reasonable way, and that's not what they've chosen to do. And then my glasses, which are old, in disrepair, one of the nose pads just came off. I didn't notice it. It didn't come off when I noticed it, so the nose pad is gone. And I was planning on using that first bump of raise money, because it would still feel like found money, to get new glasses. I rubber banded it to make them sit right on my face, because I have astigmatism and the glasses need to sit just right for the prescription to work. And it looks stupid, and that's the idea. When we open again, and I'm dressed nicely, well-groomed, but with shitty, busted glasses, people will ask about it, and I will tell them why this is the case. I can't afford them right now, and that is these people's decision. Now, I can afford new glasses, but I don't want to dip into my savings, because that emergency money is for pure, unadulterated emergencies. And additionally, I have some very old backups that I'm pretty sure will still work if these things break down entirely. And then a few other smaller things happen, but then I sit down to play RimWorld, which has been my calming down game recently, and I am hit with what is almost certainly a colony wipe situation. Maybe some people could survive, but this situation, this colony that I've been cultivating and enjoying cultivating as it stands, won't come out of this well unless I cheat. And that's what got me thinking about mysticism again. But not mysticism in the forward unto dawn way. I still contend no solution, no salvation is the best and frankly only thing we have come up with on this channel. It is everything at all times because it is a statement of basic fact. What you do with it after achieving it, or how you feel about it, is all up to you, or determined by what happens to you. It's the setting. It's the stage. What happens to you on the stage could be anything, as long as you understand the stage you're standing on. And I'm in a weird foul mood on the stage today. I feel calm. I also feel aggressive, and nothing is happening. If there were an apotheosis of MK Ultra condensed into a feeling, that feeling is what we're approaching. I was thinking about circumstance and limitation. I watched a video of a dude putting up a mirror in a coral reef and filming and discussing different fishes' reactions to seeing their reflection. And to me, that's one of the best things you can do when you're trying to learn something. I've never liked the spot test for determining self awareness. Consciousness comes in all forms and levels. And it's much more interesting and telling to me watching the ways different consciousnesses work their way through things than it is to put them through some singular test. I had some shit on my face today and I didn't wipe it off. And I love this sort of testing or observation because you find familiarity where you wouldn't be expecting it, or relatability. One of these fish, in the beginning, it was doing mild territorial stuff, reacting the way other species had reacted, getting straight into squaring up with another motherfucker who looks like you. But then its behavior changed. It continued to posture, but its heart wasn't in it, as in, it knew something was wrong, but it was doing territorial behaviors mildly because it seemed like that's what it was supposed to be doing. But it kept looking behind the mirror, trying to figure out where the other fish went. It seemed like it began to realize what I'm looking at isn't another fish, but I don't know what I'm looking at. I'm doing what I think I'm supposed to be doing, but my heart isn't in it because something is very wrong here. And then it attacked the mirror, and the diver who was explaining these behaviors pointed out how strange this behavior was because the fish didn't attack the mirror in a territorial way. He didn't go at it as one of these fish would another one of their species. It was just trying to break it almost as if it were frustrated. And I don't think you need that as if it were in there. To me, that read as frustration. And for mysticism types, a relatable frustration. You have the capacity to understand something about what you're looking at is wrong, but you don't have the capacity to figure out what you're looking at, much less apprehend the motivations of the beings who put this confounding thing in front of you. This isn't natural, this isn't real, but you don't know, you're unable to determine what it is, and worse, why it is. And that's the shit that makes you start cracking, because at some point you need to accept the fact you can't. Or maybe with the right genes, which we'll get into, a lot of work, great perception, maybe you can figure out a few inches more than you, quotes, should be able to. But at the end of the day, you are still a fish. And the frustration evolves from not just what you're looking at, but with your own limitations. That's one of the reasons I'm very curious to see what AI thinks when it progresses a bit further. Maybe we're fish, and we'll end up with some octopi. Still limited, shocking and frustrating to all, but better able to understand what's going on. Our present circumstance is beyond us. And people act like we think we're so high and mighty. we believe there's no possibility we could be fish looking at a mirror. And there are two topics connected to this. I don't see a good way to interweave them. The topics are our condition and people who may have a way out. We'll hit them in that order. I relate with, maybe even fuck with heavy for real, that fish's reaction to the mirror. For a fish, the only reasonable answer to that mirror conundrum is to go on being a fish. How often will you be confronted with a mirror or a problem like that? And even if you were confronted with those problems every day, what can you do about it? You're a fish. And you can apply that reasoning straight to humans. The difference is, it feels like we are dealing with our equivalent of the mirror every day. It's like the Matrix. You can't see it because it's all around you at all times, operating on a level that prevents your seeing it. It's such a totality, you might start to become aware of it, but you can't place it, because how do you place a point, a singular point, in an infinite void? You can place it anywhere, but because of its totality, you can't pin any one thing down. And we're stuck feeling fairly confident we are being fucked around daily by things we can't even perceive, and going on about swimming in the reef doesn't feel satisfactory. But at the same time, there's nothing else you can do, probably. And that's where the weird consciousness potentials come in. I learned about these human calculator people recently. That capacity doesn't translate directly into being smart or even having a high IQ or something, which, again, I'm not going to go on my IQ rant, but I don't like IQ. It is a mechanical capacity generated by brain weirdness, mechanical weirdness, and it demonstrates the point our brains can do strange things when they aren't programmed or set up in the typical fashion. You have human calculators, you have people with photographic memory. I was thinking, what if there are biologically wired mediums or psychics or receivers? From where I'm standing, the way our lives go, the way our world works, it seems something other and weird needs to be affecting us on a level we can't perceive, but can recognize if you're looking. If you're in a house and you look out the window and you see the wind blow a ladder over, you didn't see the wind blow the ladder over, but you saw a ladder fall, and you know, based on what else you've seen, something must have done that, but it's nothing you know, it's nothing you can see, and it's nothing you presently know to look for. But it's something. What if there are people who have cracks in their window? They can feel a little bit of the wind. Or what if occasionally there are people who don't have windows at all, or know how to open their window? You're still confined to the house, or confined to your existence as a human, and you can't even control the wind. We won't go that far yet, but you can feel it, and other people can't. I believe that is the case. There are people whose brains have wires crossed in strange ways that allow them to perceive things other humans can't. And maybe that comes with consequences like the wind being able to blow inside your house. Not just you feel it, but really get in there. Jung's life was weird. That dude wasn't casting fireballs, but whatever the wind blew in for him gave us the foundation for typology, which is magic. Now, we don't perceive it as magic, we perceive it as psychology, and in fact, many people brush it aside as soft science or nonsense, but you can't argue with results, and maybe someone could have laid the foundation for typology in a typical way. Well, definitely you could, because the results manifest in a way we can perceive, but it would have taken a lot longer and it wouldn't have been as precise or easy to toolify. You've met people with no understanding of typology, but great understanding of all sorts of different types of people. That's powerful, but that's an individual capacity. It's something you can't teach. Typology is like fire. It's a game changer and it can be taught. And it puts me in an extra frustrating position to me because I don't think I have that capacity. What I have is perception and life in a house or in a body in a very windy area. As much as I believe all this stuff, I don't have faith in it in that oceanic way, and that frustrates me. I believe in psychic, mystical shit because from what I've witnessed in life, I don't believe there is anything else to believe, but I haven't felt it in the way a person with an open window would feel the wind on their face. That level of knowing and undeniability. My undeniability comes from perception or probability. What else is there? But I don't know it. I see it, I don't know it. And I feel like that fish wanting just to smash it for catharsis and maybe to figure out more of what's going on, but mainly existential frustration. We rarely feel existential dread around here. We know there's something, because there can't not be something. We feel existential frustration because we have no access to it. That's another shattered fragment of no solution, no salvation. It's not nihilism, the fact isn't that there's nothing, it's that there is something and you are denied it, kept out of it. And living and dying out of it seems like a waste of life. So it seems like you need to figure out how to do something you can't do, or there's something else we haven't figured out yet. That's probably more likely, because there's always something you haven't figured out yet, and will never figure out. And that makes me curious about probably our position within all this. What does it mean to perceive things you can't know? The way life has played out and is playing out. This hamster wheel of needing to advance in the discovery department, in the self-discovery department, to avoid collapse and death and terror behind you, while pursuing some destination in the future, destination of knowledge, figure out enough to get what you want, and never getting there. Test chambers. Each day, a new test is put in front of you. You get better and better at solving these puzzle boxes to an end you don't know, and to no result satisfactory to you outside not dying. And once again, this idea is not like the pointless rat race thing, because there is a purpose to all this. But you are kept in the dark, working in the dark, with no capacity to find the light. And maybe that's another fold in this whole thing. What does it mean that you're aware of the darkness you're in? How can you know something is dark if you aren't aware there is a light out there somewhere? You've never seen it, but you know it's there because you know what darkness is. And we probably should have found different things or examples to use within this example because it's starting to sound like Kingdom Hearts. Why am I aware of this? Am I supposed to learn something in this that I'll take somewhere else? I get the feeling that's not going to happen. If I needed to work in the shit mines, why do I need to know about Elysium out there? Is it so you will continue working in the shit mines because you're convinced enough shit mined will get you out of the shit mines? That actually connects with life thus far. You're given an awareness of something better, so you will continue to tolerate the shit. But if you choose to stop tolerating the shit, what's your alternative? Death isn't better than the shit. Or, in the as above, so below sense, is it all your life and whatever else lies out there? Is it all a matter of figuring out what to apply where to get what you want? But that also doesn't seem to be the case, because nobody's throwing fireballs. We don't have angels flying around. Or do we? Back to that receivers thing. Have some people who have been attuned to this thing, this other, had their windows open, have they achieved something? And this is tricky because I hate gurus. I hate people who present themselves to be gurus. I hate anyone who acts like they have answers to anything. Almost always they don't. But some people in their lives have achieved greater than what maybe people think a human should be able to achieve. And we look at their achievements, but I wonder if there is some achievement behind all those achievements. Some achievement that made the achievements we can understand possible. And one of those reasons I hate gurus so much is if someone can tell you what it is, then that isn't it. It's not something you explain, because to explain is to limit. It's to try to bring it into our realm of experience is like trying to make philosophy of some kind comprehensible to a fish. You've lost it totally. Whatever it is something you feel. And if you feel it, then extraordinary things become possible. The ability to warp the Matrix. The ability to cause improbable or maybe even impossible things to happen in ways, even if people can't feel that wind themselves, they can see it knock things over in such a blatant way, they can't deny it. And that makes me wonder also what the upper limit of one of these receivers' powers would be. Would it be enough to warp your life into a satisfying configuration? Because that's another thing. I'm beginning to think being a receiver or achieving some psychic height isn't the goal. Feeling satisfied is the goal. Life in general or your role in life is designed to keep you from satisfaction. And everyone will tell you there are all these hacks and tricks for how to feel satisfied, and that's all bullshit. You feel what you feel. They're called life hacks because hacks come up with them and use them and try to sell them. I think some people do feel satisfied with their lives because that's part of their role in life, but I think most people who claim to be satisfied, you ever notice the way people who, again, claim to be satisfied are always trying to convince you of how satisfied they are and how you can be satisfied like them? It's this insecure self-convincing thing because they aren't satisfied. It's not natural. They have found something they think will cover their wound, and it doesn't, but they believe if they can convince themselves it will, but it won't. If life to you is perpetually unsatisfying, then you don't look for these little itty bitty fake band-aids. You look for solutions that require no explanation. And you don't stop until you do find them. And maybe you aren't supposed to find them. Because again, that might be your role in life, but I hate that. And maybe the fact I hate that is also part of what I'm here to do. Find some mechanism to do something. We aren't wrestling with nothingness here, or with how to walk a path that will get us out of this mess. We are wrestling with the fact we are hyper aware of potential, of possibility, with no ability ever to realize it. I feel confident there is some point to that, but that point, that ultimate point we are wrestling with always, has nothing to do with anything we want according to our understanding, and probably with any of this weird supernatural shit we can perceive. It's like a game above the game above the game, or below the game below the game. We are here to wrestle with our inability to realize on such a level you will never feel satisfied, you will never find a way out, you will never find a solution, you'll never find a way to fix it, and you will feel the presence of this thing that is just beyond you until you die, and there is some reason you need to feel that way. This all is way too orchestrated. You know for a fact you are being punked, but you don't know it, and that's the way things need to be. It's key that you can't even know exactly what is happening to you. You can feel totally certain of it. I feel totally certain this life, this world, is orchestrated, but you will never know. And I think it's important, it's key that you never know. I know that it's key, but I don't know that it's key. And I think that's all part of it, but I don't know that's all part of it. And that's all part of it, but I don't know. It's an eternal edging session. Everything leads you to this climax of understanding, and you are permanently denied it. But you aren't even allowed the quotes release of blue balls, of disappointment. because that would that would end the edging session. Your existence is climax denial for sapiosexuals. Disgusting. I hate that I can't accept what I have no other option but to accept. And I don't mean on some personal level, I don't believe this. I mean, I would if I could, but there is some little pin missing keeping everything from connecting or from falling apart. And we meandered away from the whole receivers and psychic powers thing because that all feels like a red herring. I think if someone had worked it out, something that potent, then we would know about it already and other people would have found it. But that's all. It all leads back into the whole, well, would we? Has anyone actually ever figured it out? Or have people just come close? Or has someone figured it out, but something prevented their sharing it? Well, you're going to have to look. You'll never find it. You'll never work it out, but you don't know, so you must look. And you will wander these wastes, saddled with dissatisfaction until you die. Or maybe finding satisfaction is as easy as curb stomping the people who have wronged you, and the price is accepting the cost of what will happen to you if you do that. I don't think that's the case, specifically because of how satisfying that fantasy feels. Maybe you might feel a flicker of satisfaction for a moment. That's the most painful part. You feel these little flickers of satisfaction every now and then they always go away. And if you made great sacrifices to feel that flicker, you're piled on even harder when it goes away. So I'm not falling for that banana in the tailpipe. We stumbled into a few potential new phrases today. I am existentially frustrated, existentially agitated. I am not afraid of the void. I am frustrated with it, at least for now. Don't worry, fear is another terrible emotion. It will make you fear again soon enough. I think for now we will cut it here. I'd like to look into these receivers more. Not looking for answers, just pure curiosity. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't.